Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got for you another trading recap. This is going to be full of value. Hope you've been enjoying all the videos so far. This is for my EU win for Friday 31st of March, and I'm going to walk you through my analysis on EU and DXY, my narrative for the trade, and I'm going to show you why my stop loss, my take profit, and pretty much my overall strategy as to how I successfully traded EU on Friday. So come with me and let's get started. Right, so let's go. We started here on the 4 hour on EU, and I'll just draw your attention to my narrative that I had written out here in the build up to the trade, right? So my narrative is just essentially, what do I see and why am I going to be, trading that way, right? Because I believe us to be bullish. So let's go through it for a moment. We'll start off from the daily, bullish previous day and week high. So imagine this is the daily. I won't go up there because the candle information will show too much on this replay. The high hadn't broken the low, so we've got a week high. And I think there's another week high here that's more in the daily realm, right? Because this was the low on the daily leg, this was the high, and we failed to break that, and now we're coming back, which makes this a week high. Okay, so we've got that daily week high up here, and we are bullish. On the 4 hour, we've got a week high and bullish, so you can clearly see we're bullish here with high, 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 low. Yeah, we've got this week high, which failed to break the low, so it's a week high. And what I also make sure we've got a fair value gap in discount. So we've got this fair value gap here, which is in discount of the 1 hour leg. This is my 4 hour leg. This is the discount. This is the premium, right? This leg here, swept liquidity, created a new high. So that's why it's the leg. You'll see that in my other videos if you want to learn a bit more about that. So we've pulled back down, and today we're here. You can see the previous day. So this is Thursday to Friday up here. And you can see that was clearly previous day bullish, right? So we've got the daily and 4 hour narrative is bullish. Cool. Let's go down to the 1 hour. So on our 1 hour, you can see on Thursday we took some buy side liquidity here, which I have with this X. We created this 1 hour leg, right? Sweep of internal liquidity here, and we've broken up to create a new high. So we're bullish on the 1 hour. We have a relative equal high. So previous day high, you can see on this line here, previous day high here, and today or overnight, depending on your time zone, it's pulled up and it's stopped just before the high. So it's left that buy side liquidity there. So we've got a relative equal high at the previous day high in a bullish trend. So if you know liquidity strategies, you'll know that if there's a relative equal high or low left behind, usually the market's going to use that later on and come for it for liquidity. Never mind, we've got a weak high scenario, previous daily high still intact, and a relative equal high just below it. So that's created enough buy side liquidity now for us to target. Right, so that's created my 1 hour narrative. I've obviously noted that we've got some buy side liquidity taken, which was here, and we have the relative equal highs, and now we have a pullback to the equilibrium, which is the middle point here, to a POI 1 hour order block. We have this 1 hour order block at equilibrium / discount. Right, so we can see that this is in the discount, but also around equilibrium. So that's good for the POI that it's at discount, or at least at equilibrium. And the 1 hour is mitigated where the 4 hour is not. So remember, we had that 4 hour fair value gap. We don't have a fair value gap here on the hourly. So it gave me a bit more confidence that, we may be able to go bullish from the 1 hour order block, especially during a bullish trend. It tends to not always pull back into a deep discount, or if it was bearish, it doesn't always go back to a deep premium, right? We'll look at DXY shortly, but I'll just do EU first. So that's my narrative there. This is before the trade. this isn't exactly the strategy, it's just the narrative for trading bullish. So here on the 15-minute, you can see we are breaking down bearish, but with all of my narrative, I am waiting for this POI, right? We also have a 15-minute order block here, which is now tapped. And what we're waiting for now is for it to bottom out and confirm the POI, because I'm not trading directly from that POI. We are making structure lower. So we'll see where that goes. But again, I refer to my narrative. I'm favoring longs. So we've got this pullback now. It's creating buy side liquidity, as you can see here, because every time it makes these steps down, these highs are becoming buy side liquidity targets. You can see here on the, even on the 15-minute, we kind of bottom out with what you could call double bottoms, which is great. Now it seems like our 1 hour POI is holding price. Our 15-minute POI even as well is being rejected, holding price, because we've bottomed out and we haven't created a real lower low, because this wick's still intact as the low. Right? I'll go down to the 5-minute. Because I'm bullish, I'm more willing to trade on a lower time frame. I don't need to wait for a 15-minute break of structure. I'm more comfortable with a 5-minute break of structure from here, because my narrative says bullish, right? So down on the 5-minute. So yes, again on the 5-minute, you can see we bottomed out. We've created these two bottoms here. And now I'm just going to wait to see if structure breaks. So I'll play this forward for us. At this point now, I start marking up my charts. This is exactly what I want to see. So I'll show you exactly how I mark this out. I've got my break of structure here. This break of structure was also on the 15-minute, which is ideal. So we've got 15-minute and 5-minute break of structure. This is where I'm starting to build the strategy and the case for the trade. So you can see that now. We've got our 5-minute order block here. Now this 5-minute order block is where I'd want to trade from. Why? Because the 5-minute order block here, let me put this down one moment. This 5-minute order block here is pretty much the one which caused the impulsive move higher and broke its previous high, and well, you could even say this swing high here, right? So you can see that this impulsive candle was caused by this 5-minute order block. There is an order block below, however, which I am aware of. The reason why I'm using this one for now, like I said, this order block here kind of failed to break its previous high. It didn't come in until this one. So I have a bit more confidence to use this, but I am aware of the negative of this order block below, and the market could come to it. So I'll play this forward again. What I'm waiting for now is a pullback that satisfies me. I don't want the pullback to be too strong, because then I'll lose a bit of confidence in this order block. That's just how I trade. So what I want it to do is exactly what happened here. I want it to create some buy side liquidity targets during the pullback. So I need it to be corrective, right? So I will mark up how I marked up my trade. At this point, I'll be marking these sort of things up so I'm ready to execute. Give me a moment, because I'll do exactly what my trade was. So just over 2%. And again, the reason for my stop loss, I could have saved a pip or two on my stop loss. However, I wanted to make sure all of these lows here were covered for the sell side liquidity, just in case it comes lower. And I know there's also an order block below, so I covered it just slightly, the small fair value gap here on the 5-minute, if price wants to come that way. Okay, and I'll explain my take profit in just a moment. So we've got this pulling back, and I've probably set my limit at this point, but I'll let it play out. So here Here's where the trade got even better. This is where it got high probability because this started coming down fast, but it paused just before my order block and where my entry would have been. If it had come down this fast, I'm not sure, maybe I would have hesitated without the pause, but I did. So at this point, we're either thinking, oh no, it's going to take off without me and not give me an entry, but we want to be more patient than that and realize that this is now inducement. I can mark this up as inducement. Inducement in this case is sell side liquidity above my order block now, which would sponsor the move higher. So there'll be stops and liquidity and whatnot below this for the sell side. So now my limit is set, my buy limit is set. We are creating buy side liquidity high here, buy side liquidity high here, right? If we pull back and come to my entry POI. So I'll play this out. So there, tagged in. You can see now we have this buy side liquidity trend line, which looks, great given my narrative is to the bullish side. This is like easy liquidity targets, right? This is easy buy side liquidity targets. So I'll explain my TP right now. This high didn't quite give me the risk to reward that I wanted. I think it was maybe just below 2, but there was also this high here. So I thought I could target this high, which is a very reserved target. We've got all of this buy side liquidity trend line here. However, I wanted a relatively stress-free target to end of my Friday evening, and you've got to look after your own mental state during the trade, right? Because if I target any further, I have this 15-minute, let me show you, this 15-minute POI here, fair value gap, order block up here. This for me was a possible trade short. Obviously it's against my narrative, so I wasn't wanting to trade that, but it caused an impulsive move down, so a break of structure there, and you could call this as inducement here before the POI, so it's buy side liquidity inducement, and we're beginning, possibly a corrective pullback to this POI. So in any case, even if it doesn't go short, this can cause a pullback. I don't want to hold a pullback. I want to get my money and go. So I wanted to avoid the stress of this order block, of what's above these highs, because both these highs, this recent high here and this London not high but swing point, and this New York high at the moment, that's buy side liquidity. As soon as it takes this high, we could pull back. As soon as it takes this high, we could pull back. So I wanted to avoid as much of that as possible. So I'll go back down to the 5-minute, and again, so I want to be out before this point because I don't want to hold the pullback, okay? And I don't want to be stressed out. I just want to go 2 to 1 or just over 2 to 1. It's great for me. So I'll play this through again. So you can see barely any drawdown. It took exactly 1 hour from when I placed the trade to when we hit TP, like to the minute, which was great but also strange at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to DXY now and show you how DXY helped with this trade also. So here's the DXY, and this is what the DXY looked like. So we have this 1 hour order block, which in this 1 hour leg here, which created a new low, right? So we've got a new lower low, right, forming a new bearish leg on the DXY. EU is bullish, DXY is showing bearish, DXY has got weak lows as well, that I've pointed out here. We've got weak lows which failed to break their highs, all the same as EU, right? So it's inverse. So we've got a 1 hour order block which is also being rejected. This is the same breaker structure we saw on EU, so it looks like it's confirmed the OB on DXY and EU, and also added bonus on DXY, we've got a 4 hour fair value gap as well. So all of this here, this picture here of the low that failed to break the high, so it's a weak low, right? All of this picture here painted the same thing and gave me confidence to go long on EU. So you'll see we've got our sell side liquidity points as well down to the previous daily low. All of these things are confidence, right? We've got the 50-minute breaker structure as well. So there we go. I'll go back to EU now, and then we can see what happened after the trade, right? So at this point, taking profit, I'll insert an image or video now of my MT4, you know, just for anybody that thinks this is just all in hindsight. I'll insert the video now. And so this is where my TP was really important. There was thought behind it, right? This was not luck. I'll play the video forward. We'll see what happens. As I told you, I didn't want to hold any pullbacks. I'll pause it now. You know, even after the trade, this was looking like, this would have been a headache. Pulled back, I would have been, you know, losing over 2% in profit and possibly got taken out break even, right? And that would have just hurt my head. So I'm glad that I thought ahead with my TP. I targeted a reasonable high before a major POI that could spoil my day, and I was in and out. And if I play it forward, furthermore, if I stop this replay tool, you'll see just how far it went, right? That crashed through off of this M15. So yeah, this M15 POI would have been a good trade also. So I'm glad I was out, and I'm glad that I was thoughtful enough to think of where I wanted to be out and avoid this kind of carnage that can happen. So I hope you've taken loads of value from this video, and if there's anything I missed or you want to see in future, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you again soon.